All right, if our panelists will unmute themselves, turn their video on, then everyone can get started. I see we've got a number of people here signed in so far. So from the standpoint of what we're planning to do today, I'm going to do a little bit of logistics and then turn it over to Angela. We have a number of speakers that are, or I should say panelists today, who are our guests as representatives of companies that have won the Small Business Awards. If you do have questions for them, there's a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. You can click that and you can ask that question of that speaker. And then there may be some things that are, basically the, you can try to put things through chat, but it's not going to work. So the Q&A is the way to go. And then with that being said, I'll turn it over to Angela. If you want to get started, come on in and introduce our presenting sponsor.
Great. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We have had a fabulous week so far, celebrating our small business winners with several virtual events. I want to thank Bill Dotson and Debbie Green. They've been hosting these 4 o'clock focuses for the last few months, and we're going to spotlight our winners today during this one, and we're going to learn some things about marketing. And these are, we've learned a lot already this week from these winners. They're fantastic, and so today I know is going to be just the same. We're going to learn a lot, and I want to make sure that you all we'll end our Facebook Live series tomorrow at Elaine Allen. So be sure and go to our Facebook page, Commerce Lexington Inc. You can see the other ones that we've done all week, and then we'll have our last one tomorrow at Elaine Allen. And then be sure, I just want to remind everyone, we'll end the celebration week with our Salute to Small Business announcement of our overall winner. And we'll also have videos of all of our category winners on Friday. So you can go to commercelexington.com and register for that. We're excited about that. And now I will turn it over to Houston Hall with Forcht Bank, and they are our presenting sponsor of our celebration week.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for everybody joining us again. This has been one heck of a week. Really, this turned out much greater than I ever could have imagined. Kudos to Lexington Chamber and what they've done this week to make this very informative and to get around and visit all of these winners. We've learned a tremendous amount from each of you, and we're going to continue to hear more from you today, which is a real treat for everybody on this line. We're happy to be the presenting sponsor, and look forward to hearing more about what we're going to get into today about communication, marketing strategies during these times. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Angela or Bill or whoever's going to moderate it from here. But again, thanks for everybody on this panel. Thank you for all of our winners. At Forcht Bank here, we really appreciate what you all do for the community and for this whole experience that we've been able to share with you all.
Great. Well, thank you, Houston, and thank you so much to Forcht Bank and obviously to Commerce Lexington for this awesome opportunity to be a part of this celebration this week. It's great to be back with you all this week. I want to obviously thank Bill as my co-partner in crime for the 4 o'clock focus. Always good to see and work with you. And welcome to Jameson Large, Bishop Carter, Holly Wiedemann, and Melinda Jameson. Thanks for being here and being willing to share a little bit about marketing. One of the things that Angela asked Bill and I to do was just give a couple minutes from our perspective as business owners on marketing, and then we have some questions that we would like to pose to you all that folks have shared with us, and we can kind of go from there and just brainstorm a little bit and share best practices. So you guys know that my company is Bringing in the Green, and I am a marketing consultant. So this is especially near and dear to my heart. So really glad to be a part of it. I have been involved in some type of marketing, sales, or media for 22 years. And I will say that the proudest accomplishment that I've had is when I opened my own company 2.5 years ago, and really have been able to dig in and help small businesses create and manage and streamline their marketing initiatives and measure it. And so, you know, obviously everybody says the basics of marketing is, of course, what you say, how you say it, and how often you say it. But in this day and age, especially in COVID, I will always say that what we say is the most important. And so my business is founded on the principles of what have you done to shore up your messages to the people that have already interacted with you in some form or fashion, such as an existing customer. And then what have you done to send messages to customers or potential customers that look like those folks? And before we do anything, to reach out to kind of the general public at large. So I also specialize in tracking return on investment. And what I like to say is making marketing fun again, because I find sometimes people get down in the weeds and they just aren't really enjoying it as much as they could anymore. And then the kind of last thing I'll say is my only measure of success is a return on investment in terms of either increased revenue, decreased expenses, or some type of improvement in profitability. So that's just a little bit about kind of how I view marketing, but I am really excited to hear how you all have built your businesses, because after all, you all are the ones here that are nominated for the awards in your categories. And so you all are the experts. So to that end, though, no marketing would exist without some type of technological foundation. That's where Bill's company comes into play. Bill and I have been working together in marketing and technology for close to 15 years. So yes. I will kind of transition to Bill. And I know I'm dating us, Bill. I'm telling everybody how old we are, but I'll turn it over to Bill, let him give some remarks, and then we'll dig into the questions, guys.
Sure. So a lot of people ask, how would I recommend your company, Bill? And the most common answer that I give is, if somebody thinks that technology can solve a business problem, that's generally when I get a phone call. And it's, if Bill doesn't know how to do it, his firm doesn't, then they'll figure out how to get it done or point you to the right company. So for over 20 years, been in the IT business, had a couple of companies and sold those. And now we work with companies who, this may sound funny, have a great tech problem, pay their bills on time, and are happy people. And as long as we do that, we're in good shape. We have a lot of fun doing what we're doing. So I get phone calls when money's been taken out of people's bank accounts by some phishing things. I get phone calls to come in and help an IT organization mature their practices so that they, it's more, IT now is more than just your phone and your computer. It's how you manage your data from a security standpoint, technology insurance, and things like that. So if I had to combine it right now, it's management, consulting, and technology blended together. And then we're getting into a couple things that I will shortly announce to all of our attendees. I've got another month or two of planning, and then after that, we'll have a new offering going out. So with that being said, Debbie, I'll let you kick off with the first questions, and then as all of our panelists can probably imagine, there's going to be a combination of questions related to marketing and then also some tech things, because one of the things that we do know has happened is that with more people having to work from home, or they're at home because their kids are at home, the tech portion has come into it. So I'm going to pepper in some questions every now and then with Debbie's marketing ones so that we can understand how those two things connect and how these winners have taken advantage of those two things.
That's great. Well, so Jameson, I'll start with you. And, we talked a little bit about, we know that personalization of marketing messages is to consumers is one of the most important components of marketing. But obviously with COVID, it's taken on greater importance. Can you talk a little bit about what your company's done to kind of customize your marketing messages or initiatives over the last few months?
Yeah, so, what we sell is rather unique in the sense that, we only do a certain number of projects per year. And also the sales cycle is so long that, a lot of our marketing efforts were personalized to begin with. So we don't do a ton of traditional marketing, but the way COVID has really affected it for us, and then at first we really needed to be sensitive about the information that we're putting out. Luckily we were deemed an essential business, so we were still working throughout all of this. We literally missed 0 days of work. So we wanted to be sensitive to the fact that a lot of the businesses that we're marketing to weren't so lucky. So we wanted to be very sensitive through traditional, marketing routes as well as personalized or personal, marketing methods. One thing that, with COVID, things shifted so quickly. It seemed like there were new regulations almost daily. So we needed to shift our message quickly as well. We, reached out through direct communication to clients, just through some branded materials, but really just reassuring them that we're there and, we're going to continue working for them throughout all of the issues and troubles that COVID had presented. And really, the main thing that I think COVID will continue to change is the landscape's going to be different, right? Everything is continuing to change, and things are going to be different after this. So, as far as personalizing our message going forward, that's a lot of what we're discussing now is, what's the industry that we're in, and, construction, what is that going to look like? And then, obviously our clients' industries as well, what will that look like as well? So really crafting that message and being able to maneuver around COVID and all of the potential struggles that presents has been top of mind for us.
That's great. Well, obviously planning is also a big part of it. So it's great that you're, looking forward. Holly, what about you? What would you say that maybe has kind of changed, or anything within your messaging strategies, or maybe how you got the messages out to people?
Well, we were also deemed as an essential worker, because we are obviously the providers of affordable housing, and interestingly, our residents are low income, and for the most part, many were extraordinarily hurt, particularly our family properties, because our residents are the first line hourly workers in many of the industries that have suffered dramatically, like the food industry, hotels, hospitality. It's been extraordinarily difficult. So we've had to be on the front lines. And again, like Jameson was saying, we never got to take any time off, and our property managers were on site every day, our maintenance technicians, because you really can't call maintenance in, but so we had to rapidly put systems in place to be able to communicate with our residents, and also be able to ensure their safety, and as well as our property managers' safety. And so consequently, we had to also, because of this, we're changing our computer IT platform to Bill's point, because our prior property management software only didn't allow for a lot of electronic payments for submission of applications. And so now we are in the process of shifting that throughout the entire portfolio, which is close to 1,200 units. So it's a huge undertaking. But with that, our residents will be able to pay their rent online. They'll be able to submit applications. They'll be able to submit work orders, and it will reduce the person-to-person contact, which I believe that unfortunately COVID is doing. So I don't know, none of us know, I think, how this will affect us long-term from a societal standpoint, at least until we get a vaccine. But there have been eminent changes in trying to communicate. Many of our properties are in Eastern Kentucky, and we had to upgrade software, because being able to network more effectively, it's very difficult in rural areas that don't have broadband or strong internet providers to begin with. So it's a challenge for sure. And so what I have to think is certainly, being an entrepreneur, you've got to get up the learning curve, whatever that is, as rapidly as possible. So we are working hard to change as the time around us is changing.
I think that's a great point, Holly. I know that's a common theme, and Jameson mentioned it too. Bishop, what about you? What can you kind of share with us about some of the marketing strategies in terms of communication and messaging that maybe have evolved for you all?
Excuse me. Our marketing strategy a little bit took a hit because I love in-person communication. I did a lot of door-to-door knocking, or being able, in our market, is being able to build a relationship. And majority of the time, you're able to build a relationship with a client, potential client, or even from contractor to contractor, you sit down to have lunch, or you meet up for a happy hour or something of that nature. And so when COVID hit, that all stopped. So we immediately, which, we have a small office, a couple of us, me, myself, I'm on social media, but I'm not very social media savvy. So I had to reach out and start, which I am doing now in the middle of. I never had a Elaine Allen social media page that just targeted just Elaine Allen. It was just because of the nature of the construction industry. So when COVID hit, that attacked the marketing from that area. Then at the same time, we had to regroup and kind of focus on the industry. In construction, we're relying on retail, hospitality, and restaurants. And those industries pretty much just came to a halt.
Sure.
So although we continue to work and stay active with business, we're also seeing our potential, our next job is stopping or going to become a standstill. And even the investors and owners of those businesses are not going to do anything in the upcoming future just because of the financial resources that's been impacted. We were able to help out a couple of clients just on preparing them for what was required to meet the COVID guideline. But anything moving forward, you're not going to see too many more projects. So we had to target it and start targeting the industry, which we are doing now, from a different angle and trying to go about into different businesses and see how we can support them.
Sure. So once again, kind of an evolution into something fairly quickly to have business survival. Melinda, what about you? What can you share with us? Obviously, your organization is framed a little differently, but I know messaging is still really important. What can you share?
So maybe what you're looking at, we probably have the most robust marketing budget at $0.
Right.
But that doesn't mean, and I think I'd like to encourage anyone on the call, that does not mean that you can't market. Bishop mentioned word of mouth. There's not usually a cost to that. But so for us, we really relied on word of mouth and going out doing speaking engagements and things like that and utilize social media. But we began using social media in a little bit of a different way. We started utilizing videos, which you don't have to have a budget to do that. You can film quality videos now pretty much on your smartphones, or if you have a higher end camera through that. So we started making our own videos, highlighting local CASA volunteers, because we had resources for our national organization, but there's something to be said for using local people that when someone sees that, oh, I know that person, that's my doctor, I go to church with that person. And so making a connection. So we began video messaging and early on in the pandemic because we wanted our donors and supporters to understand that we weren't closed down and we were still serving children. We shot a video of me just sharing what the needs were, how CASA was still operational, and how we honestly expect the child abuse, child neglect numbers to surge because research shows during crisis or stress that happens. And even though we're not seeing the petitions right now with schools closed because educators are the #1 reporter, we wanted to be prepared on the back end. So we began communicating that we were going to move the 30-hour training completely online and put that information out there, and have really seen a lot of success. And honestly, moving forward, I think we'll keep a lot of the video usage that we've created during this time in play. And again, there's not a cost of making these videos if you have a smartphone that can shoot it.
No, I think very creative. It sounds like you really adapted quickly and good messaging strategy there. So Bill, I'll let you kind of.
Well, first I have to say, Melinda and I met years ago at one of your events because Kirk Ramsdale is a good friend of mine. And through his sort of give back program, I forget the name right now, but I remember going to your events, and those sort of live events can't really happen right now, but they were really, really wonderful. And I think one of the neat things is to watch how businesses are transitioning using some of these digital tools, such as Facebook and some of the others. So a friend of mine runs the breakout games, and they actually have a virtual breakout game now. So if you don't go to the real one, you can book a virtual session. And so family members who are spread out across the country, essentially they've got a little iPhone case, and you tell them what to do and where to go and look for those clues. So all of these companies are making these neat little twists to their business to try to acclimate and obviously keep revenue going, keep people employed, and essentially stay in business. So Melinda, I got to give it to you for the creativity on that. That does not surprise me that you've done it. It was great seeing your name on this.
Well, Bill, I'm giving you a kudo because you just proved our point. Word of mouth works because you found out about CASA through your friend Kurt, which we appreciate their partners in giving. And number two, if anybody's into bourbon tasting, stay tuned for bourbon tasting.
Yes, they hold. I will say they hold a great event, and that really makes those silent auction prices go up too.
Bill, you're investing in a child's future in your community. It's not about the sign.
No. Every time Kirk says to go, I go because it's a great event. Outside of that, Holly, I'm curious to hear more about how you've transitioned some of the people to these online services, because we work with a bunch of HOAs, and so I know right now getting the word out is one thing. What's the uptake been like when you've introduced something where people can pay online and do maintenance requests and things like that? Has it been pretty good?
Well, I am going to be excited to find that out, because we are right now still in the transition stage, and so we have not gone live with that yet. We are about we've done a first wave of 8 properties, and we've got to do that 4 more times. And so we anticipate being fully online by the end of December. And we want to be fully online. We're creating a resident portal on our website, which we're also updating now as a result of this. And because we didn't have any resident portal, so we are going to be adding that to it. And that's really predominantly for our residents. And we'll also, through this capability, be able to have vendors and work orders so that vendors automatically get invoiced, and it matches it matches a purchase order, and they get paid. So after it's signed off on by whatever property manager it is. So it's a huge step for us technologically, and it will also, we hope, after we get it all implemented, we anticipate that it's going to reduce the burden on a lot of the everyday entering invoices and that kind of job, because it'll all happen automatically. So we're all very excited about it. And it's also, all of my team is working really hard to make it happen.
I think we may have joked on the last session that there's a joke in the IT space about, what caused your company's digital transformation. Was it your CIO, your CTO, or COVID-19? And it turns out it was really COVID-19 to help push that change. I'm going to flip over. Jameson, I'm curious for your company and how you all may be doing things electronically. We work with a few different firms that are design build or contractors now. We're seeing more and more people go to tablets out in the field for things like work orders, job tickets, and things like that. And of course, I'm going to ask Bishop the same thing in just a minute. But are you guys taking advantage of some of those things too to make an investment in the tech? You may have been doing it before, but what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of people really push that so that everyone that's both in an office and also on a job site stays connected throughout the day.
Yeah, and honestly, we didn't even realize it, but we were already using a lot of remote connectivity technology, and we didn't really feel the effects, I think, like a lot of folks maybe had. And, we've got several project managers that are out working remotely on projects across the state. So, and it's always been that way for us. So we're used to, they remote into the server, and video calls are something that we've always utilized, and a lot of the things that have spread very rapidly. But the one of the biggest things, and a potential improvement that we've noticed is traditionally, the public bid world, proposals are submitted in person, and that came to an abrupt stop. So a lot of end users have implemented ways to submit proposals online. We've also really kind of beefed up our portals as it relates to transferring bid documents to on any given project. There's dozens of stakeholders, right? We have subcontractors and vendors, and information needs to be shared across that team. A lot of times there would be progress meetings in person on site. A lot of that can no longer happen. So, sharing information while on a Zoom call has become pretty important as well. So just some platforms around sharing information with our sometimes very large project teams has been pretty important through COVID.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you guys were doing that already too, so you didn't have that far to go. Now, Bishop, when I look at your all's website and things like that, I'm curious. Did you already have some of these systems in place, or did you have to rapidly roll them out?
Well, we're pretty used to working with communication remotely through a phone or through a tablet. Construction documents, a lot of times. It depends on how big or what size the project or the design firm that you may be working with may require you to have some access to some documents where you can modify or highlight the document where there may be an issue in a snapshot and shoot it back to them pretty quickly through a tablet. So none of that from the COVID standpoint really was impacted or enhanced. The only problem that we came up with was Zoom meetings increased, so everybody wanted a conference call. So that kind of became a problem. But other than that, we really didn't see much of a IT world issue.
Yeah, one of the things that I've read a couple of articles, and there are a number of what I would call micromanagers who want their team on Zoom all day so they can prove they're working. And I don't think that they understand the concept of salaried employees, that they're paid to get the job done, not necessarily for the hours that they work. So it's there's a little bit of nervousness, I think, from a lot of companies that are out there. Debbie, I know we've got some other marketing questions that we want to go over with the folks, but one of the things I'd love to end with today, just watching our time because it's 4:30, I'd love to hear in like the last 10 minutes what their companies are going to do to win this award again. So I think that this would be a great question to ask everybody, but I know you've got some more marketing stuff coming up, so I'll let you take that.
Well, one thing I did want to touch on, I love that question too, Bill, and then I'll pose the same to you. What are you going to do to win the award next year? So I wanted to start, all of you guys, when I read through the nomination that the Chamber put out in the newsletter, all of you all have some type of philanthropy that you do. Obviously, CASA, that is kind of your framework. But with regard to the other three of you all, I know that maybe that has changed a little bit, maybe during the last several months. Have you been able to continue the philanthropic efforts? Have they evolved or changed? Have there been any types of different communication with your employees or engagement because I noticed, especially I think it was Churchill McGee, you guys do a lot of volunteer hours and giving back, and obviously maybe you're not able to do that as much. So how have those types of efforts evolved or changed, or do you see them changing? And I'll just open that up to whomever would like to answer.
I will speak up. One of our big things, as we noted, is BMW, the Male Working Academy, that we try to involve with our guys and grow and giving back to the community. That's really been impacted because it's kind of caused them to halt also. And one of the biggest things with that is with that academy, which focuses on test scores and allowing the youth to be exposed to more around the world, and also see males working, fatherhood, and people being involved in the community. And I took a liking to it. One, my son is a part of it. Two, I pretty much came up through that program prior to becoming a program because I was in grade school under the director. But three, is that Jameson can attest to this, and Holly, is that the construction industry is losing or is not refeeding itself with the youth that's going into general trades. So I want to be a part of that, community that started to give back and allowing the youth to see that it's not about, not to say one industry is better than the other, but the construction industry is not just about a hammer and nail or brick and mortar. You can have managers, you have bankers, you have attorneys, you have everybody really across the career scope involved when it comes to construction. And so that's one of the things I always bring up with them. And so we're kind of been impacted right now on being able to see their face and show up on Saturday morning and engage with them. So I can't wait to get back to it. But, during the situation, just don't want to create any other issues. So it's
Sure.
kind of a damper on us from that standpoint right now. But we have been trying to figure out other ways financially to help. But as far as the one-on-one, it's kind of been come to a halt.
Understandable. Jameson or Holly, anything along the lines of philanthropy you'd like to share?
Yeah, through COVID, one of the first things we wanted to do was embrace our own team and see what's important to them. So, we just kind of opened it up to everyone in our organization to ask, individually, one, does anyone need help, right? And then also, are there any causes or any initiatives that they would want to do? Roughly a month ago, but several of our team members initiated a food drive and completed that, and that was good within the office, just to be able to add a little bit. As small as a food drive in our office could be, it was something that they were able to do, so it was good to help out with that. We've just completed we call it our give back building. So there's a space behind our office. We've just completed it during COVID, but following some of the restrictions, we haven't quite been able to use that as we had intended. Groups of 10 or less, and that's not really what that space was intended for. So we're talking internally kind of how to best utilize that space to give back. But right now we're just kind of talking to some individual nonprofits to see how they might be able to use the space for meeting. And obviously, again, talking with our team about some of the social justice issues, internally, how can we use either the Give Back building or just, our platform as the organization that we are to help them pursue some of the causes that they want to get behind. So really for us, it's been engaging the team, right? So, it's not just the leadership of our organization that wants to give back, it's our entire organization. So from the top to the bottom and everywhere in between, we want to engage all of our team and kind of pursue the philanthropy that they're interested in as a group. So
That's great.
Debbie, before we move on, we got a question for Bishop. Someone's asking, what is the name of the charity that you mentioned? What is the name of that one? I'll send this answer back.
It's BMW, it's Black Male Working Academy. It's a program for minority youth, K through 12. Well, it focuses on minority youth for K through 12. The main goal of it is started basically around enhancing the test scores of the minority population here in Lexington. There was such a disparity between the non-minority and the minority, and then along with that, as I explained, it's just general knowledge, career opportunities, and also they take different trips, college visits. They've been across the world. They've been to Africa. Was supposed to go to Egypt this year. That was canceled due to COVID. They've been to Dubai over the years past. So that's the organization that I'm a part of, that we focus on.
Thank you.
Bishop, I'd be amiss to not tell you, brother, you're welcome over here on every Saturday till they get going. And there's plenty of male children that need positive male role models with CASA. So feel free to give me a call, and I'd love to get you going.
You called me out.
And this is recorded, Bishop. So
You called me out.
I would say that Melinda may be the best marketer ever. She's incredible. I did want to mention one thing, and Melinda, you're probably familiar with this, particularly given when you worked with Peggy Henson, and when we did Parkside, we the whole first floor of the original building, we dedicated with free rent to the Sunshine Kids, Sunflower Kids rather, the supervised visitation, and now run by Greenhouse 17, as well as Bluegrass Legal Aid. And that is an important service, not only that I'm sure you're connected with, but it is also of a service for our residents who live there. And that's a lot of what we tried to do, is focus on what can we do to assist our residents. And right now, it's been really critically important for those who have lost their jobs to try to help connect with and secure funding for rent assistance. And that is a big issue nationally that I make a lot of calls to DC, and that begins right here at home, because it's who we serve and our constituents, and that is a really important factor. I will also say the Federal Reserve is just launching a program that is entitled it's Alternative Career Training, so that people who have lost jobs are going to be able to be trained in training academies, and but these are adults, but along the same lines that Bishop was mentioning, so that people can be retrained into arenas that are well-paying jobs where they can support themselves. And I think that's going to be even more important as we go forward.
Great resource.
Yeah, so before we wrap, Melinda, do you have any more marketing tidbits that you want to share with us? Because evidently you've got the group's attention. and then we'll wrap with our question.
Never be constrained by whatever your limits are, and try and keep it fresh. Whatever it is you're doing, but have consistency beyond your messages. And it's always good to have a good time and have fun.
Yes, I totally agree. Now, our Commerce Lexington folks are on, they're listening in, and so I don't know all the rules behind the small business and the Salute to Small Business, but if you wanted to apply and win again, what's the number one thing you plan to do? And I'm going to go in order just of everybody that's appearing on my screen. So, Bishop, if you guys were going to go for this and try to win again, what's the one thing you're going to do to get this award a second time?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I appreciate the award and the acknowledgement. I think we'll just continue to stand fast on how we got here today. We believe in quality, integrity, and efficiency, and continue to market and do it. Hopefully, we continue to grow and expand and network. Ironically, which I didn't realize, Holly mentioned Greenhouse 17. And how she was a part of that. And Elaine Allen, we did a renovation of Greenhouse 17 last spring, so of their housing facility. So it's just about that, and you find out that information is just by networking, and continue to produce a product and make sure the owner's happy, the client is happy. Don't go broke doing it, and keep on moving.
All right, that's a very important part there. You got to be in business to win this award. Jameson, what about you?
Yeah, I think so. Our unifying principles is make money, give back, and have fun. and we try and live by that within our organization. You know, I have to believe that our team pursuing those unifying principles is why we are here. So I think we would just continue to do that. And I agree with Bishop, make money is definitely part of that. You know, this whole process has been a blast, and, you know, we've had a good time celebrating the success. And so we're definitely having fun with that, and we intend to continue to give back, but also, you know, use some of the connections that we made through this whole process as well. To leverage that and continue to give back. But, you know, continued growth is obviously important for us, and we're going to do that by following our unifying principles, making money, giving back, and having fun. So if we're lucky enough to come back, it would be based on that.
Nice. I like those. Holly, how about you?
So I would tell you that each development that we do is really our 3D business card. And so we have not done marketing per se, because we get calls and particularly when we were really focused on doing historic buildings, because there are not that many people that want to do small rural deals. So it all was word of mouth. And somebody, I would say, just call the mayor, you know, and of whatever that town was. But I have such an incredible team, and I think my biggest job is to take care of my team. And everybody is working so hard, and part of that is, I think everybody loves what they do, but by the same token, we're growing, and we're going to be going out into another couple of other states. And I just want to keep it rocking and rolling, and I will look forward to the time that we can get together in person, and, you know, be able to do my visits to all the properties all over Kentucky and West Virginia, because it's really great to be out in the field and to be with the managers and meet our residents, because that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Nice. All right, Melinda, we're looking for your words of wisdom here. Okay, how are you going to make it on this list?
So first, I'd like to say Bishop mentioned that project over at Greenhouse 17. If I'm not mistaken, that was through Community Development Block Grant funds, which are federal funds. And Holly mentioned how important it is to contact the federal level. So I wanted to emphasize that. And thanks to that same funding stream, we were able to purchase the building we're in right now. So I wanted to say thanks for mentioning that, Holly, but that really goes a long way in supporting our missions. And I'm going to stay consistent. As I said, marketing, it's important to be consistent and break out what I broke out yesterday. Work hard and be nice to people. We care less if we win the award again or not. We're about serving children and advocating for children. Not that we don't appreciate the award. And for us, it's good marketing, right? And guess what? We didn't pay for it. So we're just going to keep advocating for children over here and trying to serve the community and doing the best we can do and being nice to people along the way.
Well, thank you all very much for those words of wisdom. I think that this has been one of my favorite sessions, all the personalities on here. Debbie, do you want to talk about our next couple of sessions and what we've got coming up?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, thank you guys very, very much. As I agree with Bill, great energy. I'd like to encourage all of the attendees to fill out the survey that they get once the Zoom ends and give us some feedback and future topic ideas. We're working with Commerce Lexington, and October is a very exciting month for Bill, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So watch for some panel discussions in a couple of weeks on how to keep your interwebs secure. And then we have a couple of other folks that we're pursuing as well. So we'll be sending out correspondence on that soon. Thank you guys very much for attending, and thank you to the panelists. Congratulations again on the wonderful honor, and look forward to seeing you around the community. Take care.
Yep, you all have a great day. Thank you very much for joining us. The recording will be online in just a few hours. And with that, I will wrap up our meeting. Have a great day.
Thank you.